Good morning. This is Stephen and Jennifer and our daughter Emily with Iowa Backyard Farmer, and we're here today in early August to talk about paste tomatoes. We've got a whole bunch of paste tomatoes that we've grown this year, and what are we going to do with them today?
Yeah, so if you watched any of our other videos, we just got done taste testing all of the cherry and grape tomatoes, and Emily was burnt out. So much flavor, so much texture, so much difference. Are paste tomatoes boring? This is the question. Or is there a place for taste and texture to combine? And I'm going to argue that there is. And that spot is going to be our paste tomatoes. And so, because we're doing this early and it's breakfast time, we have some lovely breakfast burrito filling and two kinds of pico. And this pico is made with just our paste tomatoes that you see here. And then this one is made with our winning flavor on our big tomatoes. So this is made with a big brandy and a Dr. Y cheese. So they're big, really delicious, flavorful tomatoes. Does it make a difference? Or are we going to prefer something made with a Roma? Visually, how do those strike you?
This one is a lot more wet.
Yeah, it's way juicier.
Way juicy. This looks almost dry, but they're more firm and chunky, which
so
if you're eating with a chip is maybe a preference.
Yeah, so this is going to be nice. It's not going to juice off a chip. This one might
juice off a chip.
But it's really delicious. But the question is, so I have a distracting number of flavors in here. And a lot of times if you're not eating a fresh tomato, you're competing with other flavors. So we've got garlic, we've got onion, we've got habaneros, we've got serranos, we've got beans, we've got bacon. They're all there. So is the nuanced flavor in this important in this dish, or do we like the uniformity and texture of a Roma tomato, Roma type? So go ahead and you can put a little bit on each side and tell me what you can taste the difference. It is a little hotter pico. I did put habaneros this morning.
And you're wondering if the tomatoes are going to be able to tell the difference?
Can you tell difference in the tomatoes?
No. So, do both of them have habanero on it?
Yes, they're identical except for the tomatoes that were used.
Okay, so I'm putting mine on just a little breakfast hash with potatoes and black beans.
Yep. And this is a family.
Same, just in a tortilla.
And this is a family favorite breakfast. You guys like this one a lot, so we eat this pretty frequently.
I can taste the peppers.
You can taste the peppers.
I don't know that on the for.
This is the Roma.
The Roma one.
Tomatoes.
That is good. That is good.
Yeah. So generally, when we make pico, it is a eat the whole bowl with chips kind of good. Are you missing any of those nuanced and flavors and undertones of other things?
There's a level of sweetness on that one that I don't get on that one.
Okay. And you would, because this is a sweeter group.
Pass the chips.
Yeah, let's try it with chips and see what you think with chips. Here, I'm going to wait for a minute on mine. I'll put this over here.
That is a really good salsa.
Yeah. So you're trying the other one now?
The other one now, yeah. Very liquidy. That one is super sweet.
I'd say that one's good, but in terms of a flavor,
This one's harder to scoop. I'm going to drip, but
it's harder to scoop. Yeah, but it is a little bit sweeter, a little bit more flavor.
I forget.
What
are the
without
ingredients in here again?
So you have a Dr. Y cheese, a big brandy, a whole onion, a serrano, and a habanero, a little bit of lime, a little bit of salt, a sprinkle of garlic.
If I was not doing a side-by-side, thank you. If I was not doing a side-by-side, I'd be fine with either. If by doing a side-by-side, I can tell that there is a level of sweetness with the far one over there that I don't get from the Roma one.
Yeah.
So Yes, a difference. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference big picture wise.
Because we're going to eat both bowls all the way down with
Yeah,
chips.
they'll both be gone.
But this is a good way to test, you know, in a sauce, like in a spaghetti sauce. Today's going to be a pasta sauce making day. These Roma tomatoes are going to make a sauce that cooks quicker. It's going to thicken up faster. It's going to save me time. These little cores are going to mean that I waste less tomato.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to give me the outstanding flavor?
No, usually with pasta we're adding, like you said,
But
all the different spices, and
garlic
so
and onions
we
and
use the
oregano and other stuff
to flavor it.
And so, are you going to miss this, or is this functionality going to be more important?
In my opinion, for pasta sauce, I mean, so when we're canning and we're trying to get 100 quarts plugged out in a week or so, we just want something that's easy that we can spice to our taste afterwards.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
But for fresh, I mean, if you really did get to choose, you know, there's level of sweetness by throwing in the orange ones and some of the more sweet ones with more flavor.
And as you cook these paste tomatoes, the flavor is going to change.
Yeah.
And sometimes that light and bright color flavor that you enjoy in a fresh pico can be a little weird as you cook it down into a nice thick sauce. And so there is a really good space for these. And we're going to taste test them. Just know that offhand, they're not going to have these bright, fresh flavors. I'm not picking these other than fresh salsa. Usually these are going to be cooked. So let's move these off to the side.
Oh, if we have to, I guess.
We'll eat them really shortly. Okay, so let's start with, is there a knife over there?
Yep.
Give me the knife over there. Okay. So we'll start with San Marzano. And tell us, we weighed these. We're going to talk about, there's more nuts and bolts with paste tomatoes because the flavors are not as outstanding. We're going to talk about productivity, texture, and some other things.
Oh, should I do the math on these so we can get a per
thing? So try this. This is San Marzano. This is an heirloom. This is the Italian heirloom that says fabulous flavor. If you go to the grocery store and get canned tomatoes, they're going to be like San Marzanos, you know, because they're fantastic.
Yep. So San Marzano. So they're like you said, one of the heirloom ones, been around for a long time, has a really good name, brand reputation. They're a little bit smaller compared to some of the other ones here. They average out at 2.125 ounces per tomato.
Tomato.
A little over 2 ounces.
That was a good tomato.
Yeah, and it tastes really nice. Is it a little sweet? It's got
a little sweet.
A little sweet flavor, but it's got that
flavor.
Nice meaty texture.
I just have spice on my tongue now.
I know.
So since I was
still working through the habanero.
Yeah, but I thought that was really good. I don't know that I've ever specifically tasted.
I know, nobody just eats them plain. So
it's really good.
It's really good. So if I'm picking these in the garden, what is a pro of having this in my garden?
The flavor.
The flavor.
It is an indeterminate, so it does produce most of the season long as long as it doesn't die. Probably the biggest issue we've had with these is the first sets all had blossom end rot, and we work really
Almost
hard
every year.
Yeah, we work really hard to be able to eliminate that as an issue. We didn't have an issue with really anything else but San Marzanos we did.
Yeah, and
so they're definitely more challenging to grow.
And at 2, maybe 3 on a big one, ounces a piece. Even though it's totally loaded with fruit, it's not going to compete with our next one, which is who can see it?
Pozzano. So this was recommended by somebody who made a comment on one of our earlier videos this year and said, "Oh, you got to try the Pozzano. It's like San Marzano, but bigger and without the blossom end rot." And I thought, wow, if I can get a San Marzano without the blossom end rot, I'm interested.
And it's just slightly different flavor.
It is not the same flavor.
It's not the same flavor. It is
more savory.
A more savory, more classic tomatoey flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the San Marzano is a little bit sweeter, I thought.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little sweeter. This is not bad. And productivity-wise, this is probably giving me the most tomatoes right now in my garden.
It's close to 4 ounces per fruit. So it is
so
certainly
double the size.
Quite a bit bigger on average. and yield-wise is way higher. We've not had issues with blossom end rot. So productivity-wise, if you're looking for one that can and just produce really well, and similarly, it is an indeterminate, so it will produce all season long. Production-wise, that's a really nice one.
Yeah.
But it is not the same flavor.
It is not the same flavor, but it's not a bad flavor. It's a good flavor. Okay, so this is going to be Zenzie. This was new to us this year too. This is the AAS winner Midwest special.
So this one's considered a dwarf indeterminate, so produces all season long, but doesn't get like 10 feet tall like some of these others can. But been really looking forward to it. Production-wise, they've been really happy with it.
That is very tomatoey.
That has a really good flavor. It's somewhere between these two. It's not quite as
between these two.
Well, yeah, between these two. So it's not as it's a little sweeter.
It is sweeter than Pozzano, not quite as sweet as San Marzano. I really like the flavor. That's good.
That is good. I like that one.
Good.
That's nice. And similarly, they're pretty tall. They're very loaded.
So they'll get about 6 feet tall. Yeah.
And we're going to be making pasta sauce with a lot of these. I'm happy with that.
Size-wise per fruit, about 4.1 or 4.2 ounces per fruit average. So far, that's been the biggest one. Been a very healthy plant. I've been very pleased with it. Easy one to grow.
All right, and this one is Big Mama, and I like it, but it doesn't work for me. These are the first fruits we've had off of it. This was a smaller plant we had to buy from the store because we lost so many of our other ones. Let me get you each a good bite. This one's not quite as ripe, but we'll give it a shot. It is bigger than the others.
It's bigger, a very different shape than the others.
Those aren't the same thing.
Oh,
those are the leftovers.
The last one. Sorry,
that was the last one. This is my pile of leftovers. So there you go.
It probably not being ripe doesn't help it, but I like this one better.
I say it's made.
The texture on this one is a little more mealy.
It is very mealy and mushy.
And it's not quite all the way ripe, so it's not an overripeness thing.
No.
It has a more mealy texture.
We've grown those in the past, and then it had stopped growing them, but we decided to trial them again this year. The
flavor's not bad. The texture's not nearly as good as any of those.
That's last place for texture so far.
I am.
But just for size, those are about 5.4 ounces each. So if you're looking for something bigger, that is one of the bigger ones that we've got here.
But it's not as productive. I am way getting more fruit out of these.
Yeah, nowhere near as productive. So probably not going to be one that will grow again.
Yeah, I'll just take one slice. This is super sauce, and this is our biggest one that we're growing. What are we averaging for this?
Super sauce, we're averaging between 8 and 9 ounces for each one. And we've grown these in the past and frequently get tomatoes that are over a pound. So certainly big, meaty, kind of an awkward plant in that it's the catalog says it's an indeterminate. It's not. Mm-hmm. You have to grow it as a determinate.
It tastes like soup again.
But
this one has a really good flavor too. Emily's highest compliment of a tomato is that it tastes like soup. This one has a really nice tomatoey flavor.
I really like that flavor.
I like that one maybe even better than the San Marzano.
Yeah. That surprises me. I did not expect that. I thought, well, it yields so well. I figured that the taste would be super average. But that one, that's really good.
That is really good.
So, try it with the salt.
Where's the salt? Oh, there's the salt.
It tastes like soup.
Okay.
That's it.
With a little salt. I don't know that it tastes any more like soup, but it does taste very, very good.
It tastes like soup.
It tastes very nice.
Sweet. It has a really good texture.
Mm-hmm.
So that surprises me. We've grown it for years just for canning purposes, but in terms of an individual taste test, this is the first time.
You could slice that and be really happy with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Supremo. This is a determinate one that we brought in this last year, and the reason we brought it in is it claims to have great heat tolerance, and sometimes our August are crazy hot. And so I wanted to give this one a try. It produced just fine this last year. It's averaging a little over 4, about 4.3 ounces per fruit.
The first flavor I got was water.
Me too.
And then I got seeds.
Well, I don't get the seeds. There's not very many seeds.
Not a lot of seeds.
I must have got a seed.
But that gel, you get some of that gel around.
it has more of a watery flavor to me.
Yeah.
It is not. It doesn't
It's
have
not
a
as concentrated as the super sauce
yeah.
or as sweet as the San Marzano. And even these have a stronger tomatoey flavor.
Yeah.
This one's okay. I mean, they're all tomato flavored. This one is not objectionable. It is a lighter tomato flavor.
Yeah, it's much more mild compared to the others.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
And
next one up is this Shelby. So Shelby is one we are trialing this year for the first time. Another determinate variety, and
it looks pretty.
It is a pretty one. Has a more pointed end than some of the others do, which is just kind of fun.
In the garden, this one has a really thick leaf set on it, which can be good if it's hot and it needs a little shade. In our case, it can be bad because it stays damp, and we've ended up with more disease on this plant than our other Roma tomatoes this year because I think that really dense foliage.
Yeah.
And we've had a really wet year.
Very strong tomato flavor.
Mm-hmm. Very, very classic acidic tomato flavor.
Huh. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's a really good
As I say, it is really good.
Take some more.
Fine, I'll take more too.
Flavor's good on that one.
Yeah, I like that. Good. So that again is
so if
Shelby.
you had a problem with sun scald or you needed more shade, that'd be really good. Don't water it on the top or let it stay damp.
So about 3.5 ounces per fruit is what we're seeing on this one.
That's pretty decent.
Okay.
Okay.
Next one up is Roma III.
Can you reach that one?
And do that without dropping things.
And this is a determinate tomato again. It's shorter. It's very productive. It's going to put on a lot all at once, which is nice for canning.
Mm-hmm. So the Roma III we're averaging about just a little over 3 ounces per fruit. And we're very pleased with our production of it last year. Super heavy producer, determinate, so you get a lot in a short time period.
For me, that's just nice, classic.
Mm-hmm. It has a little bit of almost a tang to the end, as much of a tang as aroma can get at the end.
Yeah.
Where this one is just kind of sweet, and those are kind of savory or whatever. This one has just a little bit of a tang. Which again, is not bad. It's not a bad flavor.
Yeah.
It's not
so
bad.
it's not a bad flavor, but it's
not the most flavorful,
it's
nice.
Not it's super descript on either end of the spectrum.
Yeah. It's pleasant.
Which is nice. If you're playing sports or playing music, you know that not every person can be a star at once. Yeah. Sometimes being a really good bass is really important.
So last one is just a basic Roma without any of the new breeding that's gone into it.
Yeah, so this is an older one, and we do not have a ripe one today because again, mine died
size wise,
and with the pesticide overspray, and so I had to buy one. It's a little behind, but you can see a size difference here. Your regular Romas are going to come in at about 2 ounces, and 2 ounces is pretty small. If I'm making sauce, I mean, you have to go through the same process for everyone. You're like, I have to take out the core, I have to peel off the skin. This is going to go twice as fast. Yeah. This is going to take way longer. They're fine. They're very productive. It's a semi-determinate, so it kind of sprawls, but it works. I probably like all of these other ones a little bit better.
Yeah, for use purposes, they're just too small to be really
helpful.
Useful when we're canning it a lot or just making fresh salsa. These ones average about 1.5 ounces per fruit across those 4. So, half to maybe even a third the size of most of the others here.
Yeah. So, anything that you didn't really love?
I really like this group of tomatoes.
You like this group?
Overall, they're really good. I wouldn't grow the Big Mama again. Too mealy, watery.
It gave me the texture of wet malto meal.
Oh yeah, that's a mealy texture.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do that one again. The rest of them, there's nothing I would kick out for flavor. Surprised, because I did not think there would be that big of a difference in flavor.
That's why we have the Pico. I didn't think there'd be a big difference.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell a big difference.
San Marzano is really good. I maybe even like the super sauce better though. So super sauce surprises me. Productivity wise wins. I mean, it's the biggest one, so it's easy when you're trying to process a bunch, but it's got a better flavor than I expected.
Yeah. And I really, from a functional standpoint, like the Pozzano and the Zenzi. They're very uniform. They're putting on a bunch all at once for me. I would say they're on par to compete with even your determinate tomatoes in
Yeah.
terms of production.
Yep.
They're just really solid. I do like the flavor on the super sauce a lot, and I was surprised actually that there was flavor. Everybody's like, doesn't have flavor. It's aroma. There are little differences. They're not huge, but they're there.
But they're there. Which, yeah, we came into this thinking, oh, they're all going to be the same. Not a big deal. But yeah, let's taste them just in case. And I'm surprised. So I'm curious, what other Roma type or paste type of tomatoes are you growing that you think we should try? And do you have a favorite, either amongst these or others? Let us know down in the comments. Otherwise, just like and subscribe, share. Anything you can do to pass on the word, we sure appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.